Hello again, everyone. Aimer here with yet another Mission Impossible episode review. Hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. This time I'm going to be reviewing episode 13 from season 1, which is called ELENA. Simple enough. Dan pulls up to a parking lot booth for his instructions, and my word, I forgot how huge cars were back in the 60s and early 70s. Darn. Anyway, the mission. Elena Del Barra, played by Barbara Luna, a great actress who will figure very heavily into some episodes later on, is an American intelligence agent who works as a scientist in her Latin American country. And she started to behave erratically. So, the mission is to find out why before she becomes too much of a liability. So, for this mission, Dan selects Roland to find out what's going on. He says he can't go because Elena already knows him and knows that he's an agent. So Roland is going to be accompanied by Dr. Enero, who is a psychiatrist played by Barry Atwater. In the briefing, we're told that Elena will have to be put under some stress to find out what is going on with her. And there's not a lot of time, as there is another agent. He's not named in the episode, but in the Mission Impossible dossier, which I pointed out before, love this book. It's called Kalau, with orders to kill her in a week if things don't straighten out. She oddly sent a microfilm of her country's defense plans last week instead of her normal report, and that, of course, makes absolutely no sense. Roland meets her as a lab equipment salesman named David Miller, and he shows her a spinning centrifuge, which really seems to bother Elena to the point where she yells at him and runs out of the room. Roland is able to swipe a bracelet from her before she leaves. He then bumps into the other security guy, Kalau, who says he has until Thursday to get to the bottom of Elena's issues, or he's going to have to carry out his mission, him being Kalau. Roland goes to Elena's home to return the bracelet. He meets her family, the country's president, some other officials, all sorts of wonderful people. Protesters outside the house cause a scare as a rock is thrown in through a window, and the broken glass also sets Elena off. She has some weird visions of Inca idols and starts rambling about human sacrifices in her dead father's name, which didn't actually happen. Roland visits her again the next day and asks her what bothered her so much, and her rekindled anger causes her to knock over a radioactive container. After this, she admits she's been doing very strange things beyond her control, and she doesn't know why. She allows Roland to take her to see Dr. Enero. She's put under hypnosis. Roland uses the spy speak from earlier to get her to try and remember what happened with the microfilm. But at the point where she was given the microfilm by someone we can't see, all she sees is the weird Inca imagery, including those human sacrifices, including the Inca god Viracocha. Dr. Enero believes that she's under a post-hypnotic suggestion from someone else, which is preventing her from remembering who is setting her up. Roland asks the Kalau for some more time to try and help Elena. They're watched and trailed as they leave the hospital, but Roland scares their scout away and gets her home, where one of the advisors, Tomas, asks Roland if he's noticed Elena's strange behavior. Roland doesn't let anything on. Elena and Roland start to get a little bit closer, but jealous Miguel, who is in love with Elena, arrives saying Elena called him 5 minutes ago and threatens him at gunpoint. Roland is able to get the gun away from him and questions Elena about why she's playing these games with him. Seeing the gun triggers Elena's visions of Viracocha again, and she dashes away. When Roland returns to his hotel, he finds an intruder, and there's a brawl, which Roland gets the worst of. He misses a call from Kalau, the security agent, but manages to get one from a worried Elena, and confronts her directly with the microphone. Elena then suddenly sees visions of the microphone in her hand, and then seeing it disappear, along with all of the other disturbing images again. She goes up to the hospital roof, ready to jump with Roland in pursuit. She finally tells him that she remembers that her post-hypnotic suggestion is to denounce the president during the ceremony that evening by claiming that he sold defense secrets to the Americans, and she would rather die than do that. Roland talks her down as the security agent watches from below. Elena starts to remember that the image of Viracocha will cause her to act against her will, no matter what she tries to do, and she cannot remember who it was that started it. Roland manages to catch the security agent as he is about to shoot Elena and asks for 1 more hour, which he gets. At the ceremony, Rollin watches the room intently. Tomas, the advisor, sticks a Viracocha mask over a leg, triggering Elena. Rollin grabs the mask and throws the mask on the floor, breaking it, and Elena fingers Tomas, who is carrying a stiletto to take out the president, potentially, which has another microfilm in it. Elena is cleared and back to normal. Mission accomplished. Okay, so I'm going to give this episode a grade of D. It could go towards D+, although I'm really struggling to figure out how to justify that. The good, really the only good I can come up with in this episode, as I find in many episodes like this from this period, is Barbara Luna, and her performance as Elena in this one is good. She's a great actress, there's no doubt about that. As I mentioned, she's going to appear in some later episodes in the revival series as well, and she's going to have a very key role in that one. That's going to be a lot of fun when we get to that point. Now let's move on to the bad, which is why this episode gets the low grade that it does. The plot is very banal. It's nothing that is terribly interesting to me. I just don't have really anything good to say about it. It's kind of like Zubrovnik's Ghost from a little while ago, where essentially we're talking about a show where we're trying to just solve a mystery. As I mentioned with that episode as well, I don't see this plot, the script, as being a good fit for the Mission Impossible formula. The team aspect is completely missing. We've only got one agent, and actually like a guest agent who's doing anything in this episode. Clearly because Martin Landau was not in the episode before this, Fake Out, and I think there's one other episode right after this, which he also misses. Probably that he was busy doing this just so that the producers could get some mileage out of him, save some time, that sort of thing. I understand that, but still doesn't improve what's going on in this episode. Also, the psychobabble in this episode, I really don't like it. There's far too much of it for me. It really kind of turns me off. Whenever we have episodes where people are under hypnosis or hypersuggestibility, right, where somebody is basically forcing them to do something against their will, it never ever seems to come off well. It's really bad when the IMF does it to other people. That's also not good, but even in this case, I don't know. It just doesn't come off well. I really don't know how else to say that. I won't belabor the point. This is a plot, as I mentioned, that is really more suitable for a show like Murder, She Wrote, right? We don't need Martin Landau. We don't need Rollin Hand. We need Jessica Fletcher. Angela Lansbury, that's who that was. Angela Lansbury is Jessica Fletcher. This is a plot for that show, not for Mission Impossible. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for this one. Let's try and move on to some of the better episodes. Another thing that I find that's in the bad category for this episode, the plot moves at a fairly slow pace, most of these do. And while there's not really padding in the sense of padding the story, there kind of is in a way. I think the producers thought that they were being clever by or not the producers, but the writers thought that they were being clever by introducing this wild card of this guy Kalau, who's basically going to kill Elena if they can't get to the bottom of whatever's causing her problems. But really, that whole subplot is just that. It's padding. There's not enough there in the main plot to make it work, and that's why the producers had to kind of shoehorn this in. The writers and producers had to shoehorn this in. That's the end of my review for this one. Thank you all for watching. As I keep saying, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying making them. I look forward to seeing you for the next episode. Please like this episode. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Keep watching, leave comments, and I'll see you next time.